and raise the bar of showmanship to a different level. They are some of the best Latin dancers in America.
Get your dance shoes ready. It is time to conga, rumba, and mambo to the group of Latin dances that have adorned America's music landscape. Saludos, I am William Rodriguez. For over 100 years, Americans have been dancing to the hot, pulsating sounds of Caribbean and South American rhythms. Today, we honor men and women who brought the artistic flair of Latin music to a new dimension. Joining us is Joe Hernandez, President and CEO of the International Latin Music Hall of Fame, and special guest, Palladium dance legend, Millie Donay. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start with Ms. Donay. Can you tell me, when did your love affair with Latin dance began?
When I first heard Miguelito Valdez sing Babalo.
Miguelito Valdez, how long ago was that?
That's many years ago. I was only a teenager at the time. And then my friends and I started to go to the Palladium after that. And we heard Tito Puente, Tito Rodriguez, Machito.
Machito,
oh
yes.
Yes.
We have some pictures. We want you to describe them. So you can take us, which one is this one?
The Palladium era, all right, that is myself, of course, when I started dancing as a soloist, which was very unusual at the time, but I worked with Pres Prado prior to that.
Oh, you worked with the band?
Yes.
You did
Vegas.
The demonstration of dance?
No, I sang and danced with Pres Prado.
You sang and danced, okay.
Yes, and from there I became a soloist. But prior to that, I danced with Cuban Pete. That was my first start. This is when I was at Shea Stadium with Jerry Lewis.
That's Jerry Lewis.
Yes. We did a show there, which was incredible because the place was jammed. There was a money raiser. And then here we have the original dancers of the Palladium. We have Larry Selden, Vera Garrett, they're at the lower part of the picture. Behind Larry Selden is Cuban Pete, which I'm sure most people would recognize. We have Jose Curbelo to the very right of the screen, or left.
Curbelo, yes.
We have Joe Vega and Tybee, who were phenomenal dancers.
This was in the 50s, correct?
Yes, yes, early 50s, yes. They were the original dancers of the Palladium. Was Larry Selden, Cuban Pete, Joe Vega, Michael Terrace. They were the original dancers that started the contest and the exhibitions at the Palladium. So, and I came along shortly after that. Cuban Pete didn't have a partner, and I became his partner and joined the crew, so to speak.
And Joe, she mentions the Palladium. Palladium was practically our house during the 50s, is that correct?
Well, it was a great cultural place to come in Midtown Manhattan, where people from all ethnic backgrounds came in to enjoy this great rhythm. And that photo, that last photo was just showing, you saw Machito there as well.
Yes, Machito, I forgot.
So it was just a great place to come to dance. And there were a lot of places like that in New York City. But the Palladium was the place at the time to go and dance. Obviously, I wasn't there, but I remember my parents talking about it quite a bit.
That's incredible. Can you tell us about the tango, the influence that tango gave to the Latin recognition in the American society when it came out in the movies way back in the 30s?
Well, the tango, you know, when it started, when it swept this country, which was from the early 20s to the beginning of the 30s, what was great about it is, you got to remember, this was before television. It was also before radio. It was in its infancy. Radio came out in the 20s. So watching entertainment was always a visual thing. And to go see two people with the flair of dancing a tango, which is a very romantic type of dance, which is
very sexy,
very sexy,
yes.
and just a great experience to watch. And it was new to Americans to see that kind of dance. It was very daring. Very form of dancing, very daring dancing.
Well, Irene and Vernon Castle, along with Arthur Murray and Fred Astaire Studios, helped teach American Latin dance. But how important was the radio, the record industry, silent films, Hollywood movies, and the invention of the television set? Let's take a look.
In the 1900s, the creation of the radio and the record industry helped promote Latin music on a worldwide scale. Silent films brought the visual element of the tango to theater audiences. In the 40s, World War II sparked the United States Good Neighbor policy that ignited Hollywood's interest in the Latin American market. This policy opened the door for Hollywood road movies. These musicals, featuring Latino stars like Cesar Romero, Ricardo Montalbán, and Carmen Miranda, introduced audiences to the Brazilian samba, Cuban rumbas, and other Latin American dances. In the 50s, television shows like I Love Lucy, starring band leader Desi Arnaz, brought Latino rhythms into the decade of the 1960s.
Incredible.
Yeah.
When you see these tapes, what brings to your mind?
Oh, I remember it very vividly. I'm sorry I jumped in.
No, go right ahead.
But I remember watching those films and wanting to dance just like them. I thought, oh my God, look at how good. And I'd go home and practice.
Oh, well,
That's
let's say something here. You're Italian. You're not Latino.
No,
correct?
yeah, that's right. I'm American Italian descent. So I don't speak either language, which makes it a little difficult being part of this era. But everyone I knew spoke English anyway.
And what made you fall in love with the Latin dance?
The feeling that you got from hearing the music, you'd hear the drums and you'd hear the maracas going. That was just very titillating. And that's what I enjoyed. Absolutely.
Great. So, and you, Joe, when you saw this and take you back to the 50s, to the 40s, not that you're that old, but you know the whole story as the CEO of the International Hall of Fame for the Latinos. Can you tell us what does that mean to us?
Well, we can actually go even further. It's in the 30s when Don Aspiazo, with Manicero, the peanut vendor, started the entire...
I remember that one.
He started the entire rumba craze in America. In fact, even Arthur Murray at that point was earning almost 60% of his income by teaching rumba dances throughout the United States. And the great columnist Will Rogers, when he wrote about it, Manicero, on his column, and it was syndicated to over 500 newspapers, it really took that music by storm, and the entire country was just trying to get a hold of the sheet music of Manicero, the peanut vendor.
Really?
So much so they were calling it the AT&T hit, because they were calling through the phones trying to get it. It was a big success. So the rumor goes back, way back to Don Aspiazo, who introduced it to this country, and the first one to really put a dancer on the band on stage with him.
Wow.
And so Don Aspiazo has to be given a lot of credit for this.
And how this creation of Latin rhythm brought here to the United States helped these musicians to be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm not too sure that it helped them in that sense. I mean, they performed because they loved the music. They performed not to the United States per se, they performed to the Latinos that were living here, who needed to listen something from their land. And in America, they were able to listen to their rhythms. Of course, then you have people like Xavier Cugat, Perez Prado, Desi Arnaz, that popularized the music. And of course, that just led to more people able to work, more bands grew out of that, and of course, eventually led to the legacy of the Machitos, de Tito Puente.